Primary election day in Florida is just 5 weeks away.
It's time to meet the candidates.
This original program is provided as a public service by WSRE, the League of Women Voters, and Pensacola State College.
Good evening and welcome to Rally 2014. I'm Drexel Gilbert with WSRE TV.
And I'm Sandra Averhart with WUWF Public Media.
This is the second of 3 nights of Rally 2014, election coverage on WSRE TV, PBS for the Gulf Coast.
Rally allows you the opportunity to meet candidates from primary races in Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa counties, as well as candidates in the state races that impact these counties.
The spotlight tonight is on the race for Florida House District 3, which covers Santa Rosa County and parts of Okaloosa County. We will move after that to local races in Okaloosa County, where we will begin with the race for Clerk of the Court, followed by County Commission District 4 and School Board Districts 1, 3, and 5.
Thursday night, we will cover 2 primary races in Escambia County for County Commission District 2 and School Board District 3.
The questions that will be put before the candidates this evening have been provided to us by the League of Women Voters from the Pensacola Bay area and also Okaloosa County.
The candidates have not seen the questions. They will be asked the same questions and they will have 45 seconds to respond. And now following the question and answer session, each candidate will have an additional 45 seconds to deliver a closing statement.
Now it's time to get started with the questions for the candidates. And again, we are going to begin this evening with the race for Florida House District 3. There are 2 Republican candidates in this race, no Democratic candidate. The winner will face a write-in candidate in November. The primary candidates are seated in alphabetical order. The first candidate we will introduce to you this evening is the incumbent, Doug Broxson. Mr. Broxson resides in Midway. The challenger in this race is Jamie Smith, and Mr. Smith resides in Laurel Hill.
And it's time for the questions, and we will begin alphabetically with Mr. Broxson. Our first question this evening: Florida has not chosen to expand Medicaid under provisions of the Affordable Care Act and has consequently lost approximately $51 billion in federal funds. What is your opinion of this decision and how it affects those who might have become eligible?
That's a great question, and the House that I belong in took a very strong position in not accepting an early enrollment into the health care. This point has been proven out even today as 2 federal courts with the same information came up with the same conclusion about how this would be implemented. It's not a well-baked program. It needs to be vetted, and the administration who presented it needs to do it, not the state. And Florida certainly was not going to take the lead in helping them fare out what this problem has been for our country.
All right, thank you. And now, Mr. Smith, that question to you. What is your opinion of Florida's decision not to expand Medicaid and how it affects those who might have become eligible?
I was proud of that decision because I think it's important that our state doesn't become overdependent on the federal government. We should not be taking federal funds and subsidies and thereby undermining our state sovereignty. Those funds and subsidies usually come with strings attached and can be harmful for our state.
All right, thank you.
And question number 2 is going to go to you first, Mr. Smith, and this concerns online voter registration. 24 states allow online voter registration when with specified identification requirements are met. What is your opinion on allowing online voter registration in Florida with appropriate identification requirements built in?
I think that's something that we might be able to look into. However, it could potentially have some issues with fraud, with online fraud, and it could create some security concerns with voter fraud. You could always have hackers online causing issues. So it's something we could look at, but I would watch it carefully.
All right, thank you. And the question now goes to you, Mr. Broxson. Your thoughts on online voter registration in Florida with appropriate identification requirements built in?
Well, we have a very aggressive registration system now through your driver's license, through application. The problem we have is not in the Northwest Florida. It's in the southern part of the states where we have such a multicultural experience there, and we have to be extremely careful that we don't aggressively move forward before we're ready to. And I think you'll see eventually it'll happen. Everything will eventually be online, but it's not going to happen until we can perfect it.
All right, we are up to question number 3, and it will go first to Mr. Broxson. This year, a Florida Senate committee approved a bill to protect the state's threatened natural springs, but no further legislative action was taken. Where does this issue stand on your priority list?
Well, I am on the agricultural committee that deals with springs, and this year we were able to put aside $50 million for our springs. That's a good beginning. We have a lot of work to do, but remember, we're coming out of a great economic crisis, not only in Florida but in other states, and as we get more money, we will put it back into all of our water systems. We're starting in Central and South Florida where the critical needs are, and then we will be more aggressive in Northwest Florida.
All right, thank you. And now to Mr. Smith, your response on where this issue of protecting Florida's natural springs stands on your priority list, legislation for this.
It's definitely a high priority. And I think we need to look at improving Florida's shared revenue so that we can allow counties to keep more money from funds that already exist, taxes that already exist, and enable counties to take care of infrastructure. I think it's concerning that our state is operating at a surplus and our counties are looking to raise taxes to provide basic infrastructure, water runoff, drainage. Our counties are strapped tight and they're looking at raising taxes for the voters, and I'm concerned with that.
All right, thank you. Now, Mr. Smith, question number 4 is going to go to you first. A major portion of Florida's voucher funds is used to place or keep students in private schools, such as some of them religious schools. How do you feel about using state funds for the education of students in these institutions?
I support it because I believe that we need to remove as much bureaucracy as possible in the state education system, and at the same time create a variety in the marketplace so that parents, students, and teachers have more options. To get the best result for the lowest price, you want to have variety and competition. So I think vouchers are a great idea. Whatever we can do to fund as many different types of schools as possible and give parents, teachers, and students the most options will eventually educate our children the best way for the lowest price.
All right, thank you. And now the question goes to you, Mr. Broxson. And this question reads that a major portion of Florida's voucher funds is used to place students or keep students in private schools, including religious schools. And what are your thoughts and your opinions on using state funds for the education of students in these institutions?
Well, vouchers have been a phenomenal return on investment. People think that vouchers are for the rich and middle class. That is not true. Most of the vouchers are used by the poor and the disadvantaged, and that is, we are committed as a state to make sure that we raise the tide for all populations, including the poor and the disadvantaged, and vouchers is a way to do that.
All right, thank you.
All right, and our next question will go to Mr. Broxson first. Mr. Broxson, many critics of environmental laws and standards relating to water and air pollution claim that the cost considerations are given too much weight compared with public health considerations. How do you balance cost against health considerations?
Well, I think the people are going to be able to speak on that issue this fall when there's a proposed constitutional amendment that will say that we have to set aside a percentage of our budget each year for water needs. Frankly, I think we're doing a better job coming out of the Great Recession of meeting our critical needs in water management. And the Northwest Florida is so blessed in that we have deep water aquifers, we have clean water, we have plentiful water, and we're going to be a place where people want to live because of our bountiful water.
All right, thank you. And now to you, Mr. Smith, how do you balance cost against health considerations when it comes to water and air pollution?
It's important to take care of our environment, and I think the best way we can do that is by, like I said earlier, taking a look at improving Florida's shared revenues and increasing the amount of funds that counties are allowed to keep from sales taxes and usage taxes, so that the counties can handle infrastructure, roads, and other essential services, and mitigate damage that's done during floods and storms, and be able to be proactive and mitigate damage. I think that could also help reduce our homeowners insurance prices.
All right, thank you. We have a couple of more questions now for the candidates for Florida House District 3, and we move now to question number 6, and it goes to you first, Mr. Smith. Current mandatory sentencing requirements for drug offenders are under attack on the grounds that they may prevent judges from imposing alternatives that they consider to be more appropriate. Where do you stand on this issue?
I think we need to allow judges to do their job and take each case on a case-by-case basis. So I do support decriminalization. I think we need to take of marijuana because we don't want to ruin someone's life for making a mistake when they're young, make it more difficult for them to get a job in the future. They finally grow up and decide to turn their life around, and the government often gets in the way of making that possible for them. There are cases, though, where maximum sentences can inhibit a judge's ability to do his job.
All right, thank you. The question goes now to you, Mr. Broxson. Would you like for me to repeat it, sir?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
I think every judge that I've spoken to feels somewhat handicapped by mandatory minimums. Texas has shown a study which shows that there's 3 types of prisoners: those that will never be back after they serve their sentence, those that can go through a form of rehabilitation and be good citizens, and then the third group are the hardened criminals that will never change. They will always be a threat to society. We have to do a better job of allowing judges to determine that through records, and I think that you'll see that thrust in the next few years in the legislature.
All right, thanks. And now our final question will go first to Mr. Broxson. In November, citizens will be voting on a proposed amendment to Florida's Constitution dealing with medical marijuana use in the state. How would you like to see the vote turn out, and why?
Well, I think that's a very tricky question for the people of Florida. The Supreme Court allowed it to go on the ballot. It's not well written. It's going to have ramifications that we do not expect. We dealt with a medical marijuana issue in the session this time. I personally think that we should vote no. I'm going to vote no because it's going to send the wrong message to our children and to our grandchildren about how we feel about responsible behavior.
All right, thank you. And now the same question to you, Mr. Smith. How would you like to see the vote turn out regarding the amendment on the use of medical marijuana in the state, and why?
I'm going to vote no. Because it is misleading. It's de facto legalization, and the fact that it's misleading, I think it lacks integrity. I think we need to look at the long-term effects in Colorado before we even consider legalizing marijuana in Florida, and I don't want to see dispensaries on every corner. Responsible medical marijuana, like Charlotte's Web, is what we should be looking into, without the euphoric effects, without the high effects. I'm for responsible medical marijuana research.
Okay. All right, and that concludes the questions for the candidates for Florida House District 3. Now, each candidate is going to have 45 seconds to make a closing statement. Gentlemen, we began the question and answer session with Mr. Broxson, so we now will begin the closing statements with Mr. Smith. And sir, you have 45 seconds.
I would like to thank WSRE and the League of Women Voters And I would like to thank everybody watching right now. I just thank you, and for more information about our campaign, please visit jamiesmith2014.com and give us a like on Facebook at Elect Jamie Smith. Thank you, and God bless.
All right, thank you, Mr. Smith. And now, Mr. Broxson, 45 seconds for your closing statement.
Well, again, thank you for having us tonight. 4 years ago, when I took office, Florida, like the other states, were in a mess. We had a $6 billion shortfall. Many states chose to put that burden back on the people through increased tax and more government. Florida took the very opposite position. We said that we were going to reduce taxes and reduce government. To me, that was a message that had to be stated to our people, and we did it. Now Florida is considered one of the best states to live, work, and play. And that's not because of the legislature, but it's because the people of this state was able to make the tough decision during tough times to give us a better tomorrow.
All right, thank you. And we're off to a good start here on Rally 2014, and you have just seen questions posed to the candidates for Florida House District 3. A lot of issues in the state to be thought about between now and November, and of course between now and the primary as well.
And as we wrap up this first question and answer session, we want to remind you that you are watching Rally 2014 on WSRE TV, where candidates in the upcoming primary will have the opportunity as these candidates to answer questions about some of the issues that we hope are important to you. We remind you that the questions for tonight's races were prepared by the League of Women Voters, Pensacola Bay Area, and Okaloosa County.
And we thank them for that. Up next, we will move to Okaloosa County races, and we will return in just a moment. But for now, take a look at the races that are coming your way.
Thanks for watching this year's rally event on WSRE TV. I'm Mary Gutierrez. Haley Richards and I serve as co-presidents of the League of Women Voters of the Pensacola Bay Area. For over 20 years, the leagues here and in Okaloosa County have provided questions for events like tonight's forum as a service to our local communities. Our democracy is based on active participation by informed citizens, and voting is an important way to participate. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization, which means we don't support or oppose parties or candidates. We work to increase understanding of major public policy issues and encourage informed and active participation in government. This rally is one way for us to make accurate and nonpartisan information available to voters. You can also contact us for explanation of the amendments and other ballot issues. We invite women and men to attend our public events or join us as a member of the League. For more information, visit www.lwvpba.org or www.lwvokaloosa.org. And please remember to be an informed voter this year.
And welcome back to Rally 2014 on WSRE TV. I'm Drexel Gilbert, joined tonight by Sandra Averhart. And tonight you and we are hearing from candidates in the upcoming primary about issues that might touch your life.
We heard earlier this evening from the candidates for Florida House District 3, which covers Santa Rosa County and parts of Okaloosa County. We're going to move now to races in Okaloosa County, and we will begin with the Clerk of Court. Now, there are 3 Republican candidates in this race. This is also a universal race, and that means that all registered voters in the county can vote in this race, and the election will be decided on the primary date. Now, although there are 3 candidates, only 2 of them are able to join us this evening. J.D. Peacock had a prior commitment, and he is unable to be with us tonight. The 2 other Republican candidates in the primary are, in alphabetical order, Charles E. Baugh, Jr. and Dan Spence. Welcome.
All right, candidates, it is time now for your first question, and we are going to begin alphabetically as is our habit here on Rally. And the first question then will go to you, Mr. Ball. Once you decided to run for this office, what steps did you take to prepare yourself for the diverse responsibilities you would assume if you are elected? And you have 45 seconds, sir.
Yes, ma'am. First of all, I spoke with my wife, who's the boss, to make sure that it would be okay for me to proceed forward with getting on this path to become the next clerk of court. I will tell you that it took getting a team together so that we could understand the roles and responsibilities of the clerk. He has many responsibilities and hats that he wears. And took a time out to go and speak to the actual clerk just so I could get an idea of how his role fits in and the duties that he has. So speaking with him and doing a little prayer, I decided it would be something I wanted to enter, and I entered the race to become the next clerk of court for Okaloosa County.
All right, thank you. And the question now goes to you, Mr. Spence. What steps have you taken, sir, to prepare yourself for the diverse responsibilities that you would encounter should you be elected to this position?
Well, part of our preparation in filing our paperwork to run for this position was to do our homework and understand all the duties that the clerk's office performs, as well as how my background would fit. And as the current Director of Finance and Controller at Tom Thumb, I believe that my financial background lends itself well to this position. As the clerk's office, it's the clerk of circuit court and comptroller, and so that comptroller piece is very key to our county and ensuring that our county finances and our money are properly accounted for, as well as also have management experience with the Finance and Accounting Department, as well as our Information Technology Department and Risk Management Department.
All right, thank you very much. And I think it would be appropriate here, Drexel, to remind our listeners that, and our candidates really, that 45 seconds to answer the questions. There'll be a ding, a bell at 40 seconds, and then you'll have 5 seconds to wrap it up. So, all right. Our next question will go first to Mr. Spence. How would you assure that funds under the clerk's jurisdiction are invested most effectively?
Well, I think that it comes back to, as I mentioned before, accounting principles and experience in accounting. I think that our citizens of our county, we need to reestablish that trust as a county, not just in the clerk's office, but countywide. I think we have the opportunity to do that by sound financial decisions and fiscal management. And I believe that my background really brings that to the table from an accounting standpoint and from experience with 2 Fortune 500 companies. I believe that my background managing budgets and managing dollars well above what our county currently is at is a great asset. And so I believe bringing that experience from the private sector to the citizens of the county and serving the Okaloosa County is really key for what I bring to the table.
All right, thank you. And now, Mr. Baugh, that question to you. How would you assure that funds under the clerk's jurisdiction are invested effectively?
Ma'am, mainly you want to make sure that everything passes the scrutiny through the pre-audits and the audits of each of the funds that are spent for the citizens of Okaloosa County. Now, my experience being a council member for the city of Crestview, and we had many budgets we had to deal with, just making sure they're looking at line item by line item and making sure that common sense is being used when spending of the citizens' funds. And also feedback from the citizens themselves also has an issue, because you want to make sure that all the funds that are expended are spent with their best interest in mind. Now, I have a degree in information systems technology, which allows me to understand some of the roles of accounting practices, but yes, it'll definitely be spent wisely.
All right, thanks.
All right, thank you. And question number 3 is going to go to you first, Mr. Ball. Seems these days all roads lead to the internet. So with that in mind, what is your evaluation of the clerk's website, and what changes would you make and why?
Well, I've done my homework on, especially on the electronic issue, since the state has mandated that all the electronic filings be brought up to standards for all of the counties. The current website that we have for the Clerk of Court of Okaloosa, it's a sufficient website, but I'd like to introduce some ideas to bring some more transparencies into some of the court reportings and the actual records when the Board of County Commissioners go through a process of approving funds for the different invoices that they pay out. And also, I'd like to try to make it more interesting for the citizens to be able to come to the website to be able to get a how-to in some of the things that they need to do at the clerk's office.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ball. And the question now goes to you, Mr. Spence. What is your evaluation of the Clerk of the Court's website, and what changes would you make, if any, and why?
I believe there's always opportunities to enhance from an electronic perspective the things that we do, and the clerk's office is no different. I think there's always opportunities to continue to push the envelope, continue to be more user-friendly for the citizens of the county, whether it be public records, leading the charge in making court records available online to the public, as well as from the fiscal perspective, making the reports, the quarterly and annual reports, not only readily available, but also user-friendly. I think that's a real key for the clerk's office, is to be able to communicate those things to the citizens, to the average person, of where we are in our spending, where the opportunities are, and where we are going over the next 6 months to a year.
All right, thank you. And now our next question will go to Mr. Spence first. The duties of the clerk's office continually grow with changes in legislation, regulation, and reporting requirements. How would you ensure that your staff stays informed of these changes in a timely manner?
Well, I believe in continuing education. I think that from the company that I've come from, with being with Tom Thumb, being part of Kroger, we've had the opportunity to participate in career development, and it's such a benefit to the employees in your company and your department. And so I think the clerk's office is no different. The opportunities to go to conferences, to go meet with peers across the state and understand what they're doing versus what we're doing, look for those efficiencies, because as I mentioned before, there's always efficiencies no matter what department or company that you're in, and the clerk's office is no different. And so I believe that opportunity to continually advance themselves personally, and look at their career path and where that's going to take them, and ultimately what benefit that's going to have to the citizens of the county.
All right, thank you. And now to Mr. Ball, or rather, how would you ensure that your staff stays informed of the constant changes that take place in terms of legislation, requirements, reporting within the clerk's office?
Well, ma'am, as you know, I'm retired military, so I bring my military ethic into the play here, where anytime any new legislation or any new item that requires your people to be knowledgeable of being able to provide services to the citizens, you want to try to make sure they have an understanding of what's been changed, have some training available so that everyone is on the same sheet of music when it is time to give the customers the service that they require. And they have checklists. And sometimes checklists kind of keeps everybody in line like a row of ducks, but you want to make sure that the same services are provided, because there are multiple locations in Okaloosa County for the clerks, and you want to make sure each location is aware and that everybody is consistent with providing customer service to the citizens.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ball. And we want to remind you that you are watching Rally 2014 on WSRE TV. And tonight, we are posing questions to candidates in Okaloosa County for races there that will be on the primary ballot. This is the fifth and final question for the candidates of Clerk of the Circuit Court in Okaloosa County. And this question goes to you first again, Mr. Ball. If you are elected to this position, what do you believe would be your most challenging moment, you might say, in making a smooth transition, and how would you meet that challenge?
Well, ma'am, the transition would be, first, that job is very, very, very awesome job that has a lot of responsibilities, with almost 1,200 statutes and regulations that the clerk of court is responsible for. First, getting the first 30 days, just mainly getting to learn, understand all the aspects of the job, and talking with the individuals that have the knowledge. You want to make sure that you don't want to trip up any processes, but you want to look at all the processes that the clerk of court has to see if any of them need improvement, or that you stay on course with what has already been put in motion. And our current clerk has done an outstanding job of fixing some of the issues that were brought up in the report.
All right, thank you. And the question now to you, Mr. Spence. If you are elected, what do you believe would be your greatest challenge in achieving a smooth transition, and how would you plan to meet that challenge?
Well, I think in any position that you come into that you've not been in before, there is a learning curve, and I think anyone who doesn't believe that is fooling themselves. And so I think that getting down into the weeds, rolling your sleeves up and getting your hands dirty and learning what the people do where the rubber meets the road. It's no different that at our company where we go out in the stores and meet with our associates who are taking care of our customers day in and day out, and it's no different in the clerk's office. I think reaching out and speaking with every individual in the clerk's office, understanding their jobs, asking them what do they see, what efficiencies are there to be had, and so I think that learning process is key. It's challenging, but it's a great opportunity to come in with a fresh set of eyes, to bring that from the private sector and look at it in combination and teamwork with the team that's already in the clerk's office.
All right, and that concludes the questions for the candidates of Clerk of the Court in Okaloosa County. And now each of the candidates is going to have 45 seconds to make their closing statement. We began the question and answer session with Mr. Boss, so we will begin the closing statements. Mr. Spence, with you.
Well, the clerk's office has so many different roles and responsibilities, from the accounting and finance side to the court side to the public record side, and it's just it's a large job, large department, and so I believe we need the right person that is dynamic and can come in and understand the different parts of the department and effectively manage that. And I believe that my experience, I have a 4-year degree in accounting. I have managed not only our accounting department, but also multiple departments at the same time that have a variety of focuses, and ultimately being able to bring those all together to accomplish the same goal is key. And so I believe my experience and combination of that with my attitude and experience from the private sector makes me the right person. So I'm asking for your vote in Okaloosa County on August 26th, or for early voting, Dan Spence, and check me out on the web, www.danspence2014.com. Thanks.
All right, thank you. And now to Mr. Baugh for your closing statement. 45 seconds.
Thank you, WSRE, for inviting us here. I have the vision and drive to prepare our clerk's office for the future, and will work diligently to improve services by emphasizing transparency and accountability, fostering an environment conducive to all of our customers. As the only military retiree and Gulf War veteran in this race, the words duty, honor, and country aren't just patriotic words to me. It shaped who I am today as a husband, father, and former council member with a proven track record of service. Let's work together to make our county an even better place to live, work, raise a family, and retire. I am Charles Baugh, Jr., and I ask the voters of Okaloosa County for their vote as their next clerk of court, circuit court, and comptroller during the early voting period, August 11th, and on election day, August the 26th.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. And if you just joined us, a third candidate in this race, J.D. Peacock, was unable to attend rally this evening.
We have much more to come your way. Right now, a look at the races still ahead here on Rally 2014 on WSRE TV, PBS for the Gulf Coast. We will be right back. There are 3 ways to cast a ballot in Okaloosa County: by mail, early voting, or at your precinct on Election Day. To vote by mail, contact the Okaloosa County Supervisor of Elections office. You can write, phone, fax, email, log on to their website, or visit the Supervisor's office locations in Crestview and Fort Walton Beach. Ballots must reach the Supervisor of Elections office by 7 p.m. on Election Day. Early voting takes place from Saturday, August 11th through Saturday, August 23rd at the 5 locations listed on screen. Hours for early voting are 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. each day. On the day of the primary election, Tuesday, August 26th, voting takes place at your polling location from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. You must vote in the precinct in which you live and are registered. Be sure to take a photo and signature ID with you. And welcome back to Rally 2014. We're counting down to the Florida primary election, which is coming up in just 5 weeks on August 26th, and that time is going to fly right by.
Certainly is. And as we continue our focus this evening on contests in Okaloosa County, the next race up is for County Commission District 4.
There are 3 Republican candidates in this race. There are no opposing party or write-in candidates. This is a universal race, meaning that all registered voters in the county can vote on these candidates, and the race will be decided on August the 26th.
Introducing the candidates alphabetically, the first candidate in the race for County Commission District 4 is Don R. Amons. The second candidate in this race is Trey Goodwin. And our third candidate this evening is Henry Kelly.
And a warm welcome to each of you tonight, gentlemen. It is time to begin with the questions, and question number 1 will be posed to you first, Mr. Amons. What do you consider the county's most urgent infrastructure needs, and how would you recommend that these needs be funded? And you have 45 seconds to answer, sir.
The road and infrastructure is the primary focus right now. With all the damage we've had and so forth, we have some excellent opportunities to partner with both state and federal governments as far as getting the funding and so forth, and then what we don't cover that way will probably end up going to a referendum for the taxpayers of Okaloosa County to decide if they would support a half-cent sales tax to go strictly towards infrastructure, and if that's the way what the public wants, that's what they'll get, and we'll do a half-cent sales tax to pay for it, as long as that's what the majority of the public wants.
All right, thank you, sir. And next, the question goes to Mr. Goodwin. What do you consider to be the county's most urgent infrastructure needs, and how would you recommend that these needs be funded?
Well, clearly, we have some significant infrastructure shortfalls in the north end of the county. Stormwater problems, yes, but roads primarily. We have gridlock consistently in the north end of the county. We need long-term planning with a strategy to pay for it that comes from a dedicated funding source and not from a tax hike. I do not support an additional tax, and I don't think that the voters in Okaloosa County will either. I believe that the money is there as long as we focus our funds on the core government functions and spending on things that government ought to be spending its money on.
All right, thank you. And now the question goes to you, Mr. Kelly. What do you consider to be Okaloosa County's most urgent infrastructure needs, and how would you recommend that these needs be funded, sir? You have 45 seconds.
Well, thank you, Sandra. I think clearly water quality and our stormwater is the most significant issue facing our county right now. We see up in Okaloosa Lane in Crestview and Lake Lorraine in Shalimar and Denton Boulevard and Fort Walton Beach, where our neighbors have sewage in their yards and in their homes. And this has to be addressed, and the way that it can be done is one of 2 ways. One is to find the money within the existing budget, which means cutting some existing quality of life services, or as to pass a referendum that allows the voters to decide on a half-cent sales tax that will allow us to fund these projects and take care of our neighbors right here in Okaloosa County. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And our next question will go first to Mr. Goodwin. Where do you stand on the issue of allowing the use of Blackwater River State Forest for limited military training?
Well, I am a huge proponent of our military. I have 2 grandfathers and 1 step-grandfather, all of which served in the military in various branches and in World War II. And I understand the significance to our economy in Okaloosa County of our mission from Eglin and Hurlburt. To the extent that additional land is needed to be used, I think that we should partner with our local military presence to make sure that we are a welcome environment for them. They provide good paying jobs for our citizens, and those are jobs that we cannot afford to lose.
All right, thank you. Our question will go next to Mr. Kelly. Where do you stand, sir, on the issue of allowing the use of Blackwater River State Forest for limited military training exercises?
Well, Sandra is the son of a veteran, a 28-year veteran, including a tours in Vietnam, as the brother of 4 sisters who served in the military, all at the same time. And my brother served in the Navy, and I'm a Desert Storm veteran who earned a Bronze Star. My family is very strong on our support of the military. But at the end of the day, the Blackwater is state property, and I respect the rights of our private property owners, some of whom own water in own property in the Blackwater River area. Eglin Air Force Base is a massive Air Force base stretching over 3 counties, and that is the land that has been set aside for military training, and the Blackwater needs to be a state area for parks and families.
All right, thank you. And now to Mr. Amons, this question for you. Where do you stand? What is your position on the use of Blackwater River State Forest for limited military training exercises?
Well, with being prior military and serving in the Army and running through the woods a lot on reservation when I was active duty, and my parents also being prior military, I believe in the military mission. I do understand that the different impacts we've had through the community on Eglin's missions and so forth. Eglin has won a lot of awards here and there for protecting the environment and so forth. I think there's a way to do it and protect the environment and let Eglin do their mission, but I think they're going to have to continue to work with the community and see if both groups can come up with a happy ending so that Eglin can continue to use that property and the property owners themselves will be happy as well.
All right, thank you. And now it's time to move on to question number 3. If you are just joining us, we are posing questions provided to us by the Okaloosa County League of Women Voters to Okaloosa County Commission District 4 candidates. And we are now again up to question number 3. And Mr. Kelly, we will begin this time with you. To what extent do you believe the County Commission should take part in the process at arriving at recommendations concerning one or more bridges between the mainland and Okaloosa Island? And sir, you have 45 seconds.
Drexel, the bridges are a major issue, obviously, in Okaloosa County. It's where our traffic bottlenecks occur. The county commissioners, by virtue of their position, have to take a leadership role. We need to be the ones that help organize the community. Ultimately, the Department of Transportation out of Tallahassee has the final say, but as leaders in the community, it's up to us to set the tone and to meet with people and bring them together for a resolution that works for the best interests of Okaloosa County.
All right, thank you. And the question now goes to you, Mr. Amons. To what extent do you believe the County Commission should take part in the process at arriving at recommendations concerning one or more bridges between the mainland and Okaloosa Island?
Yes, ma'am. The county's leadership starts with listening to the public. We had a workshop a few weeks ago. We listened to numerous citizens and their input on the bridge. It's not necessarily what each individual leader believes is the best thing. It's what the public believes. And my belief is that we need to lead by doing a resolution on the county because the ultimate decision is up to the DOT. And I believe the outcome will be is what do we get the best effect, able to move traffic at the least amount of cost to the taxpayers. And I think that's what the majority of the folks want. They want to be careful of the use of their money, and they want to make sure that their voices are heard.
All right, thank you. And now the question to you, Mr. Goodwin. To what extent do you believe the Okaloosa County Commission should take part in the process of arriving at recommendations concerning one or more bridges between the mainland and Okaloosa Island?
Well, the County Commission should certainly be involved in the process. What ultimately happens with the bridge to Okaloosa Island will certainly affect our citizens and constituents, our businesses, and the folks who live here and work in Okaloosa County. The County Commission should be heavily involved in the process of trying to determine a citizen consensus on what the best approach is to best serve the community needs. There have been multiple proposals on the table, and at this point, I have not seen any consensus, but I have heard from the Secretary of DOT, Secretary Prasad, that DOT expects a consensus before making a decision.
All right, thank you. Our next question will go to Mr. Amons first. What changes, if any, would you propose concerning Crab Island in light of recent reports of concern regarding sanitation, commercialization, and safety at that location?
I think right now the Crab Island is in the state waterway, managed with Coast Guard and so forth. Our law enforcement officers do respond out there here and there. I'm not big into regulating each and every business. I think they know what the state laws and so forth are. There are issues there like there are in numerous other places in the county. I do think we have to look at the water quality issues. I know the county and the TDC are both looking at partnerships for ways to possibly put some apparatus out there to control waste and so forth. And I think that's a start, and I think having a task force working group between the board, the sheriff, and all the agencies coming together is what's going to make a best resolution.
All right, thank you. Next to Mr. Goodwin, what changes, if any, would you propose regarding Crab Island in light of these reports of concern about sanitation, commercialization, safety?
Well, I believe that we already have enough regulation on the books to control the behaviors that have been complained of. It's likely an enforcement issue. One thing that I am adamant about, though, if the county goes in the direction of increasing regulation or increasing amenities at Crab Island, I believe that we should be looking for sources of funding to pay for that, other than the taxpayers' hard-earned property taxes in Okaloosa County. Funding sources such as the TDC, I don't think it takes much more than a ride across the bridge to see that, that the tourism industry impacts the population at Crab Island significantly. And my biggest concern is that we protect the property taxpayers.
All right, thank you. And now this question to Mr. Kelly. What changes, if any, would you propose regarding concern for sanitation, commercialization, and safety issues at Crab Island?
Well, as I said in an earlier answer, you know, my most important thing is water quality and our stormwater issues. So I would like to see an emphasis upon making sure that the testing and how the water quality is treated. But I'm a believer in the free markets, and Crab Island is a great example of where people have chosen to associate. They can buy the food that's out there, they can choose not to. They can choose to go out or choose to have fun out there. And we need to be not crony capitalists, but we need to be where the free markets can thrive. And Crab Island is a great example of where people have choices and they enjoy it, and every day I get to drive by it and people are having a great time. And the only thing that I would like to emphasize is a strict attention to the water quality.
All right, thank you. Now we have a couple of more questions left in this round of questions and answers, and we will begin question number 5 with you, Mr. Goodwin. What additional steps, if any, would you recommend the county take to attract companies that would provide jobs that match the high level of skills, training, experience, and education of Okaloosa County residents? And you have 45 seconds, sir.
Well, if you want to attract companies to come to your area, there's two things you have to look at. Are you overtaxed and are you overregulated? Because those two things will kill investment in your community from outside businesses quicker than anything else. So I think that we need to look at, can we streamline, even more so than we have, the process for getting projects off the ground once they come to us in Okaloosa County, because time is money. And also, we need to take a hard look at how we continue to burden the property taxpayers with additional tax increases and growing county budgets. And so if we get the regulations and taxes under control, I think we'll be okay.
All right, thank you. And the question now goes to you, Mr. Kelly. What steps, if any, additional steps, if any, would you recommend that the county take to attract companies that would provide jobs that match the high level of skills and training and experience and education of the people who live in Okaloosa County?
Well, this is a great question for me because I've been involved in recruiting companies to come to the Bob Sykes Airport in Crestview and other points. One of the things that I've done as a citizen is I've helped bring the Florida A&M Pharmaceutical College to Crestview, and also it was just announced in a project I've been a part of for years for Florida International University to bring a PA school, medical school, to Crestview. Having higher education like that is a driver that brings companies that they want to be here because we have the higher education. The other component of it is to make sure that we have a thriving arts community. Believe it or not, if you look at communities like Birmingham and Montgomery that have shown great improvement, it comes through an art center. Thank you.
All right, and finally this question to you, Mr. Amons. Your thoughts on attracting businesses to Okaloosa County, businesses that match the level of expertise and skills and education, the talent level, if you will, for the folks who live in Okaloosa County?
Well, first of all, we have the lowest tax basis, and we have streamlined a lot of business opportunities and business rules and regulations in Okaloosa County. We've also streamlined by master planning, for example, the Crestview Airport for those businesses. I've been instrumental in bringing new businesses to the area, such as Quest, New, Okaloosa Medical Center and jobs and so forth. So I think we're going the right direction. We continue to offer incentives that don't cost a lot of money. For example, possibly use of dark fiber lines and so forth for businesses, and being open to their suggestions and recommendations and providing incentives for them at the minimum amount of cost to help them pick Okaloosa County as their home.
All right, thank you. And we have one final question for these candidates for Okaloosa County Commission, District 4, and it will go first to Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kelly, if the County Commission decides to make spending cuts to balance the budget, what programs or services, if any, would you recommend be reduced or eliminated?
Well, currently the budget by law has to be balanced. You know, this is a statutory matter that we have to pass a balanced budget. It makes us very different from the fine politicians up in Washington, D.C. I have for several years participated and as a citizen in the budget process, and a few years ago I was part of a team of citizens that worked with the county commissioners and administrator to recommend cuts to the management to shrink the budget when the recession hit. So currently I am pleased with where the budget stands, but we do not have the sufficient resources to address our water quality issues, which is going to be my #1 priority.
All right, thank you. And now this question to Mr. Amons. What is your position on if the County Commission has to make spending cuts to balance the budget? What programs would you vote to reduce or eliminate?
We've reduced several of the programs as we have in the past. We've eliminated 134 jobs through reduction and other ways of doing it. We continue every day to look at ways to cut and create partnerships. We look at the return on the investment, how much money we can put to get state and federal funds. I think the county's doing a pretty good job. There's always room for improvement. Again, I think that we got to look at other sources of income and partnerships. For example, we just got $7 million from Eglin Air Force Base. We got $13 million from BP, and we continue to go after all these resources, and that's what's going to help us stay within budget.
All right, and finally, this question to Mr. Goodwin. What recommendations, what programs or services would you recommend be reduced or eliminated if necessary to balance the budget?
Well, in Okaloosa County, we're coming off of last year's budget cycle, which resulted in a tax hike to the property owners in Okaloosa County. This year, I've already heard or read where the County Commission is talking about increasing spending even more by another $28 million. That concerns me. I think there are several areas that we can look to cut or to tighten our belt before we increase our spending and return to the bloated budgets that we had back in years past. For instance, we fund things like over $250,000 to supplement the bus system when we haven't figured out why ridership is so low. We also have several other areas like that that I think we can look into.
All right, thank you. Those are the candidates, for Okaloosa County Board of Commissioners, District 4.
And now each candidate will have 45 seconds to make a closing statement. And continuing down the line, we begin with you, Mr. Kelly. 45 seconds.
Well, I'd first like to thank WSRE for putting on this important event. You know, as we evaluate who your next commissioner should be, the question is going to be, do you believe in the policy or the politics? This is a universal primary. All Republicans, Democrats, and Independents have a vote, and I'm asking for your vote. I have experience in the military industry, the tourism sector, education sector, all of the key economic drivers of Okaloosa County, and I've been involved in our politics for years. I'm asking for your vote. I'm pleased to announce that the Fraternal Order of Police District 1 has endorsed my campaign because they understand my commitment to public safety and infrastructure. Again, I'm Henry Kelly, and I'm asking you for your vote starting August 11th. Thank you.
And now, Mr. Amons, time for your closing statement, and you have 45 seconds, sir.
I'd like to take the opportunity to thank those that have participated in supporting WSRE. I do believe that the county's on the right track. Part of the understanding of being a county commissioner is understanding the budget, and one of our big savings is to quit paying rent on all our buildings. which is $20 million out of the $30 million increase in the budget, and then the other is money that we've gotten from Eglin. So it's a very positive thing, partnerships and so forth. And I believe that I'm the best candidate for the position. I do want everybody to come out and vote starting August 11th. I need your support and so forth, and together we can continue to make Okaloosa County a striving county for both business and citizens.
All right, thank you very much. And now, Mr. Goodwin, it's your turn, your closing statement.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to participate in the forum tonight. I think it's so important, and I hope that the voters out there have learned something about the candidates for the District 4 seat. We have a great opportunity to make significant changes in Okaloosa County this election cycle, and I'm asking for your help in doing that. I'm asking you to join with me. And no, I do not have the backing of the big unions, and I don't have the backing of the special interests, but I'm here for the taxpayer because I'm one of you. I'm asking for your vote, because remember, the taxpayers are the ones that win with Goodwin. Thank you.
Thank you. And once again, those were the candidates for County Commission District 4 in Okaloosa County.
In just a moment, we will move on to the Okaloosa School Board District 1 race. Rally 2014 will return in a moment.
Thank you for watching Rally 2014 on WSRE TV. I'm Mary Blackwell, President of the League of Women Voters of Okaloosa County. For over 20 years, the Okaloosa and Pensacola Bay Area Leagues have provided questions for events like tonight's forum as a service to our local communities. The success of our democracy depends on active participation by informed citizens, which begins with voting. The League of Women Voters is nonpartisan, which means we don't support or oppose parties or candidates. This rally is one way for us to make accurate and nonpartisan information available to voters. You can also contact us for explanations of amendments, merit retention of judges, and other ballot issues. We invite women and men to attend our public events or join us as members of the League. Please see our website for more information or to contact us. And please remember to be an informed voter this year.
And welcome back to Rally 2014. I'm Drexel Gilbert, joined tonight by Sandra Aberhart. We certainly hope that you are enjoying Rally 2014 as you have the opportunity to learn something about the folks who will be on your primary ballot.
This evening, we are meeting candidates from races in the Okaloosa County primary election. And up next this evening is the race for School Board District 1. There are 2 candidates in this nonpartisan race, and all registered voters in the county can vote in this race. The winner of the primary will win the District 1 school board seat.
And it's time now to meet the 2 candidates for this seat, and we have them, as we have all evening long, our candidates seated alphabetically. And so first this evening, we introduce you to Cindy Frakes.
Good evening.
And the second candidate in this race is Lamar White. And we say welcome to both of you. Thank you for being here. Question number 1 is going to go to you, Ms. Frakes. What do you consider to be the district's most critical infrastructure need, and how would you recommend that these needs be met?
The most critical infrastructure need, we have it in all the schools. Things like plumbing, bathrooms need to be retrofitted. Many of our schools are well over 40 years old. Some of them are even over 50 and 60 years old. So our infrastructure needs have to do with just maintaining like you would have to maintain your house. And we have had less and less money for those kinds of needs, so we've had to really stretch the dollar.
All right, thank you. And the question now goes to you, Mr. White. What do you believe is the district's most critical infrastructure need, and how would you recommend that this need be funded?
Well, thank you, Drexel. I think I can speak to that directly. I worked in the Okaloosa School District as a principal for the last 26 years, and I can tell you that we have real needs in terms of infrastructure in the schools. We have aged plumbing, we have bathrooms that need to be renovated. We also have an aging transportation fleet of buses, and we have some real needs in that area as well. But having worked in the schools as a principal for all of those years, I can tell you that we really had to struggle with many, many maintenance issues that were kind of Band-Aid repairs to things that really ought to be replaced. And I believe, should we replace those, we'll save the taxpayers a lot of money.
All right, thank you. And this next question will go to you first, Mr. White. What are your views on the decision that will move key budgeting and staffing decisions from principals to the district level?
Well, thank you, Sandra. Now, as I said, I was a school principal, and I operated and worked under both systems. I worked many, many years ago under a centralized model, and most recently, I worked under the site-based budgeting model. I am a proponent. I strongly favor site-based budgeting. At the schools that I was a principal at, 4 schools, we earned 13 A school grades, consecutive A school grades over the years, because the principal and the teachers and the parents were able to make decisions that were in the best interest of the school. We could add programs. In one case, we were able to add a Spanish teacher. We also were able to add a talented and gifted program, and we added a reading program, but we could make those decisions locally.
All right, thank you. And now this question to you, Ms. Frakes. What are your views on the decision that moves key budgeting and staffing decisions from principals to the district level?
Let me point out that, first of all, that still 90% of the money is still going to go to the schools. But we had created the haves and have-nots, and I just would like to ask the viewing audience how you would feel if your student went to a school that did not have as much as the other schools did have. It's a fairness issue. We wanted to equalize the funding and have a standard level of service. So every school will have an assistant principal, every school will have a guidance counselor, every school will have a media aide, and every school will have at least one extracurricular activity. That was not the case before we went to this model. Almost all districts in Florida have gone to either a hybrid model, which we have selected, or the regular central-based budgeting, and we think it will work better in our district.
All right, we have a request for a rebuttal. Mr. White, 30 seconds.
Thank you, Sandra. Sandra, what I would like to say to that is that I was very privileged, and I had the opportunity to work at some small schools with small enrollment. And quite frankly, we didn't always need all of those kinds of positions. And it was an opportunity for us to reallocate resources and apply those resources where it best met the needs of the students at our school, as opposed to a mandate from the district.
Okay, thank you. Oh, rebuttal? Ms.
Yes,
Frakes.
I would like to say the mandates are, we certainly talk to the principals and take their input into this. I have talked to all the principals that are in my district, and they all say that they actually are looking forward to this kind of budgeting because it will allow them to be the kind of educational leaders they need to be. It will allow them to spend more time in the classroom and more time with first-year teachers.
All right, thank you. And we are posing questions right now to Okaloosa County School Board candidates in District 1, and we are posing questions to them that have been provided to us by the League of Women Voters of Okaloosa County. And it's time to start question number 3, and we will begin with you, Ms. Frakes. What is your opinion on whether or not the state's end-of-course tests make worthwhile improvements in the evaluation of students, teachers, and schools?
We have to keep our focus on what is the purpose of testing, and it's to let us know where we are, where those students are, and what they need for improvement. So the end of course exams this coming up year, they're going to be required in all subject areas. Okaloosa County made the decision to test before it was mandated by the state. 65 districts have formed a coalition. We are not a part of that coalition. We acted independently, and now some of those districts are coming to us and saying, why are you so far ahead of us? How did you do this? And they are asking for some of the questions and some of the tests that we have designed.
All right, thank you. And the question now goes to you, Mr. White. What is your opinion on whether the state's end-of-course tests make worthwhile improvements in the evaluation of students, teachers, and schools? You have 45 seconds.
Thank you, Drexel. Let me say that I support the state-mandated end-of-course exams. In fact, Okaloosa County in performance, student performance on those state end-of-course exams has been rather good. The problem that we have had would be with the locally mandated end-of-course exams that we instituted, not required by law. In fact, there are multiple media reports about the issues associated with those end-of-course exams that we gave. Students performed poorly. In fact, in previous years, they didn't even count unless students, it helped their grade. And most recently, by memorandum, the school district has scaled the end-of-course exam scores.
All right, thank you. And now our next question will go first to Mr. White. What are your views on changing school start times for high school students or high schools as a result of the National Sleep Foundation's research on sleep needs for teenagers?
Well, thank you, Sandra. I'm very, very familiar with that research. In fact, two physicians that have led that effort in Okaloosa County were former parents of mine at a school where I served as principal. But what I would say to answer the question is that the research is very, very compelling, and that ought to be something that should be seriously looked at and studied in the Okaloosa County school system. I think there are a number of issues that we have to resolve, those issues associated with budget. What are the costs of such a proposal? Beyond that, there are issues associated with student time in terms of employment, in terms of extracurricular activities, and so all of those things ought to be factored.
All right, thank you. And now this question to you, Ms. Frakes. What are your views on changing school start times for high schools as a result of this research on sleep needs for teenagers?
The research is compelling about how it's there's less absenteeism, the grades are higher, the graduation rate is higher. Everything is better across the board, I think, when teenagers get more sleep. There's less obesity, there's less suicide, there's less depression, there's less drug use, there's less traffic accidents. But we also have to balance that with what the community desires. So the first thing we have to do is get community input. Right now we're doing a 3-month pilot with our transportation department to look at what we can do to tighten up our bus schedule just as much as we absolutely can. And are there some routes that we can combine? Are there some routes that we can do away with? So it's not something that we can just do immediately overnight and have it done. So it's an issue that we are studying and will continue to study.
All right, thank you very much. All right, and now we will begin question number 5 with Ms. Frakes. What programs, if any, would you propose be added or modified to help prepare students for well-paying jobs in industry?
Thank you. That's a great question. It's one of my favorites. One of the things one of the reasons I'm running for re-election is to make sure that we get our manufacturing institute well established. As the viewers probably know, I was instrumental in getting our choice programs, our career technical program started in Okaloosa County, along with now Senator Don Gates, but at the time, school board member and school superintendent. We have some good programs that we've got, but right now manufacturing is one that we need to start. We are a member of the Manufacturers Coalition, which is 12 counties in Northwest Florida. They tell me that in the next 5 years, we're going to need 3,400 manufacturing positions, and we only have 680 of those at this time. So it's imperative that the public schools get involved in this.
All right, thank you. And the question now goes to you, Mr. White. What programs, if any, would you propose be added or modified in order to help prepare students for well-paying jobs in industry?
Well, thank you, Drexel. The first thing I would say regarding that question is that we need to focus on the primary mission of K-12 education, and that's reading, math, and science, and language arts. And all of those subjects are critically important to students doing well in the world of work. I would not be in favor of adding any new additional programs at this time. I think what we need to do is to repair and to ensure that the programs that we have are operating properly. At this very moment on my website, www.electlamarwhite.com, I have posted some newspaper articles pertaining to the current programs we have. And in fact, the viewers may be aware of over 200 animals that were taken by PAWS.
Right, thank you. All right, and we have one more question for our candidates for School Board District 1, and it will go first to you, Mr. White. Are charter schools in the district receiving all of the oversight and sunshine that you would consider appropriate?
Well, the truth is, in Okaloosa County, we've been very fortunate with our charter schools, and I know that that's not the case necessarily all over the state, or maybe even in some close-by school districts and counties. But we have good charter schools in Okaloosa County who are good partners with the Okaloosa County School District. And so the answer to that question is, in Okaloosa, our charters are performing well, and they do have a good level of oversight from the school board and from the citizens and the parents that elect to send their children there.
All right, thank you. And finally to you, Ms. Frakes, do you think that charter schools in the district are receiving all of the oversight and sunshine that you would consider appropriate?
The state requires certain reporting from a charter school to the home school district, and we get those in a timely fashion. We have to know about their curriculum, and we have to know about their finances, and those have to be parallel with what the actual contract is, so that they are in compliance. We have a very good relationship with the charter schools in our county, an enviable relationship, as a matter of fact. We don't have that many charter schools in Okaloosa County because we've always maintained an outstanding school system. Miami-Dade, for instance, has 128 charter schools. We don't even have that many schools in our whole K-12 system. So the ones that we have, I think we have a very good relationship with, and they are very well monitored.
All right, thank you. And that completes the questions for Okaloosa County School Board District 1 this evening. And we are now set for our closing statements. And each of our candidates will have 45 seconds. And in this case, we will begin with Mr. White. 45 seconds.
Thank you, Sandra. First of all, I'd like to thank WSR-TV and also the League of Women Voters for allowing us to be on this televised broadcast. But what I would say is that the voters of Okaloosa County know me. I first arrived in Okaloosa County in 1961. I taught Sunday school, I coached in youth sports, I became a teacher, eventually became a master teacher, a high school coach, and for the last 26 years I worked as a school principal in the schools of Okaloosa County. The last 11 years I was principal at Meigs Middle School. What I would say is that we need to improve the academic performance of students in Okaloosa County. We need to increase instructional time rather than decrease instructional time like we have done with early release and late start. And for those reasons, I'm asking the voters to vote for Lamar White. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. White. And now to you, Ms. Frakes, time for your closing statement, and you have 45 seconds.
Thank you, and I would like to thank you all for sponsoring this event tonight, and also for our viewers at home for taking time to watch. Let me remind you of what it is we are voting for. We are not voting for a school principal, we are voting for a school board. My opponent has had experience running a school. I have had experience running 40 schools. He has had experience with a $4 million budget. I have had experience with a $400 million budget. I also have 16 years experience in school board governance. You know me, you know what I've done, you know what I'm capable of doing. You know I can get the job done. I have collaboration with my colleagues on the school board. It takes 3 votes to get anything done. If you don't get a second to your motion, you're not going to be successful. I always get seconds to my motions, and I have people that vote for me and support me. I am asking you, the voters at home, to also vote for me on August 26th.
All right. Rebuttal here?
We're going to take a short break and get some important voting information, and then when we come back, we will have more of Rally 2014, so stay with us.
There's nothing more important to our democratic process than having an informed electorate voting on Election Day. Good evening. I am Ed Meadows, President of Pensacola State College, thanking you for tuning into Rally 2014, a joint presentation of the League of Women Voters, WSRE-TV, and Pensacola State College. Rally allows you the opportunity to watch and listen as this election year's slate of candidates answer the tough questions concerning the needs of our community. WSRE, a service of Pensacola State College, is proud to bring this program to you as a public service, and as always, we invite your comments and suggestions about how we can further fulfill our community obligations. Let's all remember the importance of participating in the governance process by voting in the upcoming election.
And welcome back to Rally 2014. I'm Drexel Gilbert with Sandra Averhart, and we are moving now to the District 3 school board race in Okaloosa County.
But before we do that, we want to note we had a request before the break for a rebuttal to a closing statement, and our rules, League of Women Voters rules, do not allow for that, and so we are going to move on, as Drexel said, with our next race, and that is for School Board District 3. This is a nonpartisan race. All registered voters in the county are eligible to cast ballots in this race regardless of party affiliation. And because there are more than 2 candidates here, the winner must receive 50% plus 1 of the vote in order to be declared the winner. Now, if that does not happen, the top 2 vote getters will meet again in the general election in November.
And there are 3 candidates. The first candidate is C.W. Soldier Hayden. And seated next to him is Joe Slusser. And next to Mr. Slusser is Rodney L. Walker. And candidates, we extend a warm welcome to you to Rally 2014.
All right, and we have a few questions for you, and we will begin with Mr. Hayden with our first question. You will have 45 seconds to respond, and then at the conclusion of the question and answer session, we will give you 45 seconds to make a closing statement.
And again, Mr. Hayden, we are going to begin with you. How would you respond to a parent who believes that early release practices in the district result in an unacceptable cut in instructional time?
I would actually listen to that parent because I'm a parent, and I don't think early release is beneficial to any students. I think it's taken away from education time. I think it cuts into extracurricular activities that parents cannot be involved in. So I would actually have a sympathetic ear, and I would not just stop at that parent. I would want to know from the other parents as well, and I would take a collective voice together and bring it to the board and say, we need to address this, let's change this.
All right, thank you. And the question goes now to you, Mr. Slusser, and I'll repeat it for you. How would you respond to a parent who believes that early release practices in the district result in an unacceptable cut in instructional time?
Well, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. It's one of the things I've been talking about at the other forums. As a teacher that just retired the 30th of June, the instructional time was cut deeply by the early release. Not only that, it's when parents have to make arrangements for the babysitting, there's extra bus transportation. But if a parent, and a lot of parents have talked to me about this and came to me at forums and meetings, they're against the early release. And the early release is something that our county decided to put in, and we need to reevaluate that whole thing. And early release and late start in some of the schools, we need to reevaluate that. And as a school board member, that's what we need to do.
All right, thank you. And now the question to you, Mr. Walker. How would you respond to a parent who came to you and said that they believe that the early release practices in the district result in unacceptable cuts in instructional time?
Well, early release is something that's been very controversial since the beginning of it. And the thing we must all realize, however, though, is the tremendous demand that the state has passed down to the school districts by demanding more and more professional training for our teachers. And consequently, it has forced us to go to early release. And it's something that no one has been able to come up with a good solution to it. But you have to remember that we must abide by many of the things that's passed down to us from the state, and early release is one of those things.
All right, thank you. And our next question will go to Mr. Slusser first. A teacher can have a 3-year contract and the superintendent and school board essentially have a 4-year contract. What is your opinion of the policy that limits principals' contracts to just 1 year?
Well, I think that that's a good idea on the principals. At first, when they first come in, when we've had a lot of administrators that are new to the system and new to being administrators, a 1-year contract is standard, and a 1-year contract, and if they come back and they've performed well and their school is making the standards and doing the things that they need to do, and the school board is seeing that and the superintendent was seeing that, then maybe that would be something we could extend the contract and maybe give them a 3-year contract. But administrators typically only have the 1-year contract. Some school systems, they have the same as the teachers, but it is a shortened one in Okaloosa County.
All right, thank you. And this question will go next to Mr. Walker. What is your opinion of the policy that limits principals' contracts to just 1 year?
I strongly support the statute that we currently have in Florida that allows the superintendent to recommend to the school board that you can give up to a 3-year contract to any administrator, and I'm very strongly in favor of that because naturally the superintendent, as we all know, does all the hiring and firing of the employees except the lawyer and the architect. But with a system where you can give them a 3-year contract, if they're not satisfactorily performing their duties, then you cannot recommend them, and that means they just have 2 years left, and then the following year, 1 year. But I very strongly support the law that is available to give our administrators a minimum of 3-year contract.
All right, thank you. And now to Mr. Hayden for your response to this question, your thoughts on the district's policy that limits a principal's contract to just 1 year.
I think it's fine if we give outstanding principals who've done a good job administrating the schools a 3-year contract, but they have to demonstrate that. Their yearly reports have to demonstrate that as well. You know, not just effectively how do they manage the school, but as well as the teachers that are working underneath them. What I would say is if we do give a 3-year contract to a principal, when it comes time for renewal, let's move them to another school. And that way they're not staying in the same environment, becoming stagnant, or actually becoming the sole authority figure within that school.
All right, thank you. And it's time now for question number 3 as we pose questions to candidates for School Board District 3 in Okaloosa County. And this time, Mr. Walker, we will begin with you. And the question that is being posed to you now is, how would you ensure that increased emphasis on science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medicine is not achieved at the expense of subjects such as art, music, and languages?
Well, for many, many years, as you know, we used to just say the basic education, which is reading, writing, and arithmetic. Basically, I think that we have a very excellent program and system in Okaloosa County that assures us that we're not only able to adequately cover our academic areas, but I also think it's very important to provide a program for music, art, etc. And I think we do an excellent job of that with our current curriculum in Okaloosa County School District.
All right, thank you. And the question now goes to you, Mr. Hayden. What would you do to ensure that increased emphasis on science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medicine doesn't come at the expense of subjects such as art, music, and languages?
I'd actually want to see the budget to actually ensure that those arts and cultures programs are not suffering at the expense of expanding STEM. Everybody wants to focus just on STEM, but there's more to life in the job market and experience than just STEM. And I'm a big proponent of arts and culture. My wife and I think it's important not for just our children, but for everybody's children to make them a well-rounded individual. So I'd want to see the budget to make sure that's happening. If it is, I want to challenge that and rectify that as best as possible, especially with strong community input.
All right, thank you. And the question now goes to you, Mr. Slusser. Would you like for me to repeat it for you, sir?
Yes, please.
All right. How would you assure that increased emphasis on science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medicine doesn't come at the expense of subjects such as art, music, and languages?
I think that would be a case of monitoring the finances that the school boards are allocating for those. The STEM program, which is the science, the technology, the engineering, the medicine, that program is excellent, but we have a lot of excellent programs with the music in school, the band programs. Drama, a lot of the schools the higher schools have drama programs. These programs are very, very important to these children, and we need, in order to have well-rounded students and well-rounded citizens, we need to make sure that we watch that this money is spent the right way. Those other programs, which we usually refer to as the liberal arts, they need the opportunity too, not just those arts.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And our next question will go first to Mr. Hayden. In light of research by the National Sleep Foundation on teenagers' sleep needs, would you recommend any changes in high school start times?
The only change I would recommend is actually this early release, which could actually change our start times earlier. But based on just a sleep recommendation, no, because that's not how the real world works when they get out of high school. They're gonna have to get up early to go to work. They're gonna have to adjust accordingly to whether they're going to university or actually in the labor field. So no, I wouldn't recommend that at all. I think it would actually be a disservice to our people in high school to say, no, we're going to adjust your sleep times for this, because when they go out to the workforce or university, it's not going to be adjusted for them.
All right, thank you. And now, Mr. Slusser, your response to this, would you recommend any changes to high school start times?
Yes, ma'am, I would. I'm in favor. There's a movement called Start Schools Late, and that's what you were referring to. In some of the counties in the south part of Florida and many counties across the United States have gone, school districts have gone to this now, because the pediatricians are recommending that these teenagers need about 9 hours of sleep and they're not getting it. As far as the early release, that could be a teacher's work day. The students could stay home that day and we could do a teacher work day instead of having the early release, and that would help too. But I'm in favor of starting schools later. It will be a problem at first in scheduling, but it would be mandated, be important as far as the scores. They get more sleep, they'll have less problems, less truancy and all those things, and I think that the students would do much better.
Thank you. And finally to Mr. Walker for this question on the sleep needs of teenagers, research on this, and whether or not you would recommend any change in start time for high schools.
Well, there's been tremendous research on both sides of the controversy of whether or not we should start earlier or later at the high schools. And the thing we all must understand and realize is, yes, I think possibly that it would be great to start high schools a little bit later. However, what we must all remember is one thing, is the ideal thing was be able to start schools all at the same time, but we know we cannot do that because of the monetary cost. And the thing we must always remember is many districts that have tried to start later have actually found no significant increase in the academic performance. So money is a big driver, though, of why we either don't start them all at the same time or perhaps start them later.
All right, thank you. And now our question begins with Mr. Slusser, and this question talks about students who do not plan to pursue a college career. What changes would you like to see in programs that are aimed at students who don't plan to attend college that would better prepare them for well-paying jobs in industry?
Yes, we have many students that go through our school system, and when they get through, they have no plans of going to a four-year college. They might plan to go to a junior college like the ones that we have here locally that are so fantastic. Or they might want to go into the military, or they might want to go into the trades. And in Alabama right now, they're pushing the movements. There's a huge movement to bring the trades back into the schools, vocational training. We have some vocational training in some of our high schools here. But that needs to be, if we can expand that and open the doors up for the kids, the students that want to do that route. We need tradesmen, we need people of crafts, we need people that go into the military and go into these junior colleges, not just the four-year programs.
Thank you. And the question now goes to you, Mr. Walker. What changes would you like to see in programs aimed at students who do not plan to attend college that would better prepare them for high-paying jobs in industry?
Well, I think that Okaloosa County has been one of the leaders in making sure that this has happened. And as we all recognize that we started a choice program many years ahead of the majority of the districts in Florida and the nation. And the thing that we all must realize, and I think that Florida is becoming the leader in this, for the fact that if you look at the funding from the legislature this past year, they're actually diverted many, many more dollars in that particular area, and I think that our results showed that statewide we ranked at the very top with what we were focusing on as far as providing an education for something other than college careers.
All right, thank you. And now the question goes to you, Mr. Hyden. What changes would you like to see in programs that are aimed at students who don't plan to attend college that would better prepare them for high-paying jobs in industry?
Well, the first thing I would like to do is to actually make sure that they know it's okay. For a long time in our country, no matter where you are at, you are told you're really not going to be successful unless you go to college, but it's not true. So it's good to start with reassuring them that it's okay if you don't want to go to college. Maybe it's not for you now, it could be down the road, and whatever trade you want to pursue, you're going to be successful in that. So I'd like to see more vocational training expand, and I'd also like to see partnerships with the trades markets that we have here in the area and develop apprenticeships like we used to have, so that they can get that experience and decide whether or not they want to pursue that trade or not, and make sure that they have the curricular programs that will help them along the way. We do have STEM, but I think we can strengthen that and make it more, as long as we tell them it's okay if you don't go to college, you'll be successful.
All right, thank you. All right, and we are now down to our final question for these candidates for Okaloosa County School Board District 3, and it will go first to Mr. Walker. What more, if anything, should the district do with respect to monitoring the operations of charter schools in the district?
Would you repeat the question, please?
Yes, sir. What more, if anything, should the district do or should be doing with respect to monitoring the operation of charter schools?
Charter schools?
Charter
yes,
schools,
I'm sorry.
yes, sir.
Well, I think that we should understand that basically when I was first elected to the board, Mr. Gates and I actually encouraged and brought the first charter school into Okaloosa County school system, tied in with the fact that we recognize that in some cases charter schools was not only an asset to us, but also made it very, very comfortable and better for other students that we were not able to meet some of their needs. And I think our record proves one thing, that we've worked exceptionally well with our charter schools, and we feel like that, as a matter of fact, we have just turned over 2 of our different programs to our charter schools, thinking that perhaps they could do a job that we had not been able to do simply because of the type of situation there.
You have 45 seconds. All right. And we will ask this question now to Mr. Hyden. We're talking about charter schools and what you would do, what more you would do, if anything, with respect to monitoring these schools.
The only thing I would do is just make sure they're academically performing to the equivalent of the public schools proper or exceeding it, and I hope they're actually exceeding it. Other than that, I wouldn't do anything else, because they started for independence, and I'm not going to destroy the choice of the parents or the teachers who work in that school or the people who founded that charter. I'm not going to do anything to have a negative impact on their autonomy. That's why they started, so I would not interfere at all. Nothing.
All right, and finally, Mr. Slusser, your opportunity to weigh in with respect to the monitoring of the operation of charter schools in the district.
Well, our school system has a good relationship with the charter schools that are in our county, and they've been very beneficial to the students, because some of the students, you know, maybe just don't feel like they fit in or whatever the program might be, but the charter school system has done pretty good in this county, and I would say that we need to monitor them, make sure that their standards meet the standards that we have for Okaloosa County. And what I've seen, and I've dealt with the charter schools, 2 of them that I dealt with as a teacher in working with special needs kids. It's a very important program, and it is an option that we must keep available to the students.
All right, thank you. Thanks to each of you, and you'll now have 45 seconds to make a closing statement. And in this case, we will begin with Mr. Hyden. 45 seconds.
Cheers, thank you for having me. I I just want to say I'm doing this because I'm a father of 2 young sons and I have no time to wait to be involved in their education. I have to do something now or else it's going to be too late. My wife and I are not happy with the state of the schools. We find them unacceptable. As parents, we're frustrated that we don't see the transparency within our school district, that we feel like we don't have a say in our schools, especially with our fellow parents that we hear time and time again. And it's time to have a fresh voice on the board who actually believes in term limits and doesn't want to sit there continuously to be reelected over and over again, not achieving anything. And it's time to have people who are going to fight against bad academic programs foisted on us by the state, such as Common Core. And that's what we want. It's time for a fresh voice for more parents and to bridge those gaps between parents and teachers. This is a time to fight for our kids' academic future.
Thank you. All right, thank you. And now your closing statement, Mr. Slosser. You have 45 seconds, sir.
Yes, as an educator for 44 years, I started in Kentucky and I'm finished up down here. I've been a teacher in the trenches. I taught for over 31 years. I taught special needs. I was an administrator. I have been a person working with finance. I have a doctor's degree in education, and I have a master's in special ed and financing in a specialist degree. I believe that my special assets and attributes that I have working with the students allows me a chance to further that and make the school board a better place and a better thing for the community to help support the community. I had to have the time as an educator, and I plan to give service. And please vote for me when you go to the polls. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And now, Mr. Walker, your opportunity for closing remarks, your closing statement.
First, let's see, so I won't run out of time, to make sure I want all of you to be sure and vote for me. Now, and the reason for that is I'm the current school board chairman. I've been elected consecutively 5 times by my other board members, which I think speaks very well of my leadership abilities. And the thing we must remember, I'm very proud of Okaloosa County Schools. And I think that we have an outstanding school district, outstanding students and teachers. And I feel like that in the years that I've served on there, that I think that I have proven that I completely understand what's very important to run a school district. And as we all remember one thing, to be a school board member, you have to work well with other school board members, because if you can't count to 3, you can't accomplish anything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you to all of the candidates for School Board District 3 in Okaloosa County for being with us on Rally 2014. There is still another race, and we are going to pose questions to the candidates for School Board District 5. But right now, we're going to take a quick break with some important information. We'll be right back.
Thank you for watching Rally 2014 on WSRE TV. I'm Mary Blackwell, President of the League of Women Voters of Okaloosa County. For over 20 years, the Okaloosa and Pensacola Bay Area Leagues have provided questions for events like tonight's forum as a service to our local communities. The success of our democracy depends on active participation by informed citizens, which begins with voting. The League of Women Voters is nonpartisan, which means we don't support or oppose parties or candidates. This rally is one way for us to make accurate and nonpartisan information available to voters. You can also contact us for explanations of amendments, merit retention of judges, and other ballot issues. We invite women and men to attend our public events or join us as members of the League. Please see our website for more information or to contact us. And please remember to be an informed voter this year.
There are 3 ways to cast a ballot in Okaloosa County: by mail, early voting, or at your precinct on Election Day. To vote by mail, contact the Okaloosa County Supervisor of Elections office. You can write, phone, fax, email, log on to their website, or visit the supervisor's office locations in Crestview and Fort Walton Beach. Ballots must reach the Supervisor of Elections office by 7 p.m. on Election Day. Early voting takes place from Saturday, August 11th through Saturday, August 23rd at the 5 locations listed on screen. Hours for early voting are 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. each day. On the day of the primary election, Tuesday, August 26th, voting takes place at your polling location from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. You must vote in the precinct in which you live and are registered. Be sure to take a photo and signature ID with you. And welcome back to Rally 2014. This might be a good time to let you know that if you, for whatever reason, miss any part of Rally 2014, either last night's program, tonight's program, or the program on Thursday night where we will meet candidates in Escambia County, Florida, good news. You will be able to access Rally 2014 online at WSRE.org very shortly. In a couple of days or so, check back and you'll be able to preview, or rather review the program. And there you go. For more information, WSRE.org/rally. So that's always good news to be able to go back and see once again what the candidates had to say about the issues.
And we do have one more race this evening, another school board race that is up for grabs in Okaloosa County. This is for School Board District 5. This is also a nonpartisan race and open to all registered Okaloosa County voters. There are 2 candidates seeking this office, and it's now time to meet the candidates. Moving alphabetically, the first candidate is David E. Scholl.
Good evening. Nice to meet you.
And our second candidate this evening is Melissa Thrush.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And it's time now for the candidates to receive the questions. The questions tonight provided to us by the League of Women Voters of Okaloosa County. You will have 45 seconds to respond, candidates. You'll hear a ding at 40 seconds. That will give you 5 seconds to wrap up. All right, question number 1, and we were going to begin with you, Mr. Scholl. What do you consider the district's most critical infrastructure needs in Okaloosa County, and how would you recommend that these needs be met?
Probably the most critical infrastructure we're facing in Okaloosa County is, when you look at the average age of our schools, we're talking 30+ years. So as the buildings continue to need ongoing maintenance, we're going to have to look at the buildings that we want to maintain for the next 20 years and where's the most effective utilization of our taxpayer resources in terms of renovating and maintaining those buildings. And then also, what does it bring to the fight in terms of adding to the academic environment for our pupils? It doesn't do any good to build great buildings if we're not teaching our children properly. So we want to make sure that we're using our taxpayer dollars effectively, maintaining our infrastructure wisely, and then combining that to make sure that we provide the best academic environment for our students.
All right, thank you. And now we move to you, Ms. Thrush, with this question. What do you consider to be the school district's most critical infrastructure need, and how would you recommend that this need be met?
Well, as Mr. Scholl just mentioned, over 80% of our schools are over 40 years old. That's 4/5 of the facilities in our county. Our maintenance and custodial staff have done a phenomenal job over the years keeping those buildings safe and comfortable for our students and our staff. We have seen a steady decline in our capital revenue funds over the years during my first term and prior to that. As a school board member, I have advocated not allocating school board discretionary funds to individual school board members. That is a big concern of mine just because of all the priorities. Our second infrastructure need is our transportation department. 14% of our buses are over 20 years old.
Thank you. All right, and this next question will go to Ms. Thrush first. What is your opinion on whether the state's end-of-course tests make worthwhile improvements in the evaluation of students, teachers, and schools?
Well, as you know, the state does have mandated end-of-course exams in algebra, biology, geometry. We have U.S. history end-of-course exam, and this past year we had the civics end-of-course exam. Assessments are a tricky subject. It's important for our students to make sure that they are being held accountable for the academic performance and items that they have learned. And our teachers and instructors do a phenomenal job year after year of preparing our students for such state end-of-course exams. We have great performance in the state end of course exams this year, we were ranked second in civics and placed still very high in our Algebra 1 exams. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And now, Mr. Scholl, this question to you. What is your position on whether the state's end of course tests make worthwhile improvements in the evaluation of students, teachers, and schools?
As we look at the end of course exams, the biggest concern I have is we need more local control over what exactly is in the test. I'd like to see us have the test earlier. I'd like to have us parents involved in a review process, because the buzzword now that we're hearing with Common Core and its implementation, and I oppose Common Core, is the critical thinking. That's the main buzzword. But I want to make sure that we are in fact testing and teaching the things that need to be taught, as opposed to just teaching to the test. And a big concern that I have with the end of course exam, it's a huge investment in terms of IT, and it's a tremendous expense to our district, not in terms of just monetary, but also in terms of the amount of time our children spend on these tests.
Thanks. All right, thank you. And we are going to begin now with you, Mr. Scholl, for question number 3. Early release practices create a reduction in time available for instruction. What are your thoughts, sir, about that reduction?
Well, I want to get more input from the parents and the teachers involved. Half the group seems to love it, half the group seems to oppose it. So we're going to have to find a happy medium. Perhaps what we could do is have a rotating schedule where some of the elementary schools take the 1 year where they have the late release in the day, like we're seeing with the high schools, and we rotate that around. So if it's something that everybody's happy with, we're going to keep it, obviously. But it does impact the amount of learning time that's available to our students, and it's something we need to seriously address every year to make sure that, do we in fact have our ladder against the right wall? Do we need early release? Is it necessary for the teachers in their training? And it's something that are the families happy with?
All right, thank you. And now the question goes to you, Ms. Thrush. What are your thoughts on early release, the practice of early release, and how it impacts the amount of time and the reduction in time for classroom instruction?
Well, early release and late start are it's something that has to happen. It's not the ideal situation. We receive several mandates from our legislature year after year, and we have to provide the training to our faculty and staff on the changes in legislation, that how it affects our students and their teaching and their instruction. So it comes down to how are we going to get in that training time to our staff. And we are under calendar limits. The teachers have 190 days, and how are we going to pay for substitutes if we were to take them out? So early release and late start, we have a calendar committee that addresses that. I have asked that.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. All right, but Ms. Thrush, you will get this question first. What are your views on the decision that will move key budgeting and staff decisions from principals to the district level?
Well, as you just mentioned, we recently have changed from site-based management to more of a hybrid model, using centralized budgeting as well as some site-based management. Our principals still will have a lot of local control. They will do all of the hiring and firing of their staff. They will help determine the courses that they offer. With centralized budgeting, or with this hybrid model, we were able to provide a standard of service. We had several schools that did not have a standard of service. They didn't have a guidance counselor. They didn't have someone staffing their media center. We had some schools that didn't have an elective. So a principal will now have an elective if they didn't have one before, but they will be able to decide what elective to offer.
All right, thank you. And now, Mr. Scholl, you get this question. What are your views on the decision that will move key budgeting and staffing decisions from principals to the district level?
I'm very concerned with what's been thrown as the hybrid budgeting system with everything financial in Okaloosa County. Obviously, that the voters definitely want oversight. So I'm skeptical, and I'm going to keep a close eye on this. I'll be mindful of your tax dollars. I'll be a good shepherd of your tax resources. I want to make sure we protect school choice. And what I'm hearing now from some of the principals involved is it's going to jeopardize the waivers that they've been able to pass lately. So are we going to continue to see school choice in the future? How will it affect electives? Some of our schools offer multiple foreign languages. I want to see French in every school that wants it. I want to see Italian. I want to see German. So I want to make sure that we're doing this with the best interest of our students.
All right, we have a rebuttal now. Ms. Thrush, you have 30 seconds for your rebuttal.
And I guess I want to address the school choice issue that has come up with this hybrid model. Really what has affected our open waiver policy, which I believe is what Mr. Scholl is referring to as school choice, is the class size amendment. Schools have to provide space for students who are zoned for that school. And under class size, we have to create a classroom with a teacher in it if we go over the class size limits. And Okaloosa County has met the class size limit since I've been a school board member. So that has really put a limit on how many students a school can take as wavered.
All right, thank you. And now it's time to move to question number 5, and we will begin with you, Mr. Scholl. Do you believe that charter schools in the district are receiving the oversight and sunshine that you consider appropriate? If so, why? If not, what would you do about it?
I think the charter schools in Okaloosa County are doing an excellent job. And the number 2 factor in an outstanding school system versus just an average school system is school choice. And the charter schools offer that option. Parents, when they make a decision on where they're going to send their child to school, they're trusting their most prized asset to that school. So right there, if the parents weren't happy, that's your report card. They would not be sending them to that school. They could go to the public schools that are available. But we've seen charter schools be amazingly successful in New York and Washington, D.C., and we're seeing them successful in Okaloosa County. So I think we have the right amount of oversight. I think they are doing an outstanding job, and I totally support school choice.
All right, thank you. And the question now goes to you, Ms. Thrush. Do you believe that charter schools in the district are receiving the level of sunshine and oversight that you consider appropriate? If not, why? And what would you do about it? If so, why?
Well, as a school board, we function as a financial pass-through for our local charter schools. So we do, as a school board, review the finances and the audits that our local charter schools have. As far as their performance, we cannot dictate what happens at a charter school as far as academics are concerned, but we are able to have great relationship with the local charter schools in our area, and actually they offer our students who might not have had a choice without those charter schools being open, they might not have a choice to continue their education. So it's a great opportunity for the students in Okaloosa County.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Thrush, you will get this next question first. In light of the National Sleep Foundation's research on teenagers' sleep needs, would you recommend any changes in the start times for high schools?
Well, obviously, you're not going to please everyone. Our whole community revolves around school start and end times. Businesses, aftercare programs, definitely school start and end times affects every family that has children. It affects our traffic, it affects our businesses. So it's a very complex issue. I am in support of seriously considering later school start times, but it comes down to a transportation issue. We have surrounding neighboring counties that have changed their start times and have their older students start later. The medical science does show that this would be an improvement for our students as well as their academic performance. But really we need to have routing software to allow us to run optimizations to test what would be available.
Thank you, thank you. And this question will go next to Mr. Scholl. We're talking about the National Sleep Foundation's research on the sleep needs of teenagers and whether or not you would recommend any changes in high school start times.
Probably not, primarily because NASA's done quite a few studies regarding circadian rhythm. But this is something I would be willing to listen to the voters on. If the majority of the parents and the teachers want this, then I would support it. But again, if we could provide the necessary buses to get the students from point A to point B in a timely manner, then it would allow us. If we had an unlimited budget, we'd be able to start all the schools at the same time and also end them at the same time. But right now, that's an impossibility. But I would certainly listen to the voters on this one, i.e. the parents and listen to what the teachers have to say. So I would support that if that's what the voters in fact wanted.
All right, thank you. And that wraps up the question and answer session for the candidates for School District 5 in Okaloosa County. Each of you now will have 45 seconds to deliver a closing statement. Now, we began the question and answer session with Mr. Scholl, so we will begin the closing statements with you, Ms. Thrush.
Well, I'd like to start by thanking the League of Women Voters and WSRE Public Television for sponsoring the program this evening. And thank you to you, the voters, for tuning in. Our school board positions are very important, and I appreciate you. I also wanted to let you know that I'm a sincere candidate for school board. These past 4 years have been very insightful and humbling. I am truly inspired by the dedication of our instructors, support staff, and administrators. The school board works hand in hand with district staff to make policies and financial decisions that affect the lives of not just our students, but our staff and our community. We're very fortunate to live in a community that is so supportive of our school system.
All right,
and I hope you vote for me, Melissa Thrush.
Thank you, Ms. Thrush. And now 45 seconds for your closing statement, Mr. Scholl.
Well, I want to thank you for hosting this event and for the voters out there for tuning in. This is democracy in America, and you should be proud of yourself for taking the time to take part in it and become educated on the candidates. But I'm Dave Scholl, and I'm asking for your vote on August 26th. For the last 28 years, I've served this great nation as an Air Force officer, and I retired out of the reserves. During those 28 years, I worked as a local recruiter for the Air Force Academy in our high schools, working with our best and brightest pursue their dreams. I've also been a Florida high school athletic official, working with these young athletes out there on the soccer field. So I've had a deep involvement with your children already, and I want to continue that as your school board rep. I will be your advocate. I will make sure our schools stay safe. I'm going to support school choice. I'm going to make sure we have tough standards with local control. And I'm also going to make sure that I'm a good shepherd with your tax dollar.
Thank you. And thank you to both of our candidates for School Board District 5 in Okaloosa County.
We have one more night of Rally 2014 ahead of us, and when we come back, we'll take a look ahead to the races that you will see and the candidates you will meet coming up on Thursday evening. We'll be right back.
There's nothing more important to our democratic process than having an informed electorate voting on Election Day. Good evening. I am Ed Meadows, President of Pensacola State College, thanking you for tuning into Rally 2014, a joint presentation of the League of Women Voters, WSRE-TV, and Pensacola State College. Rally allows you the opportunity to watch and listen as this election year's slate of candidates answer the tough questions concerning the needs of our community. WSRE, a service of Pensacola State College, is proud to bring this program to you as a public service, and as always, we invite your comments and suggestions about how we can further fulfill our community obligations. Let's all remember the importance of participating in the governance process by voting in the upcoming election.
There are 3 ways to cast a ballot in Escambia County: by mail, early voting, or at your precinct on Election Day. To vote by mail, contact the Escambia County Supervisor of Elections office. You can write, phone, fax, email, log on to their website, or ask in person at the Supervisor's office on Palafox Place in downtown Pensacola. Ballots must reach the Supervisor of Elections office by 7 p.m. on Election Day. Early voting takes place from Saturday, August 16th through Saturday, August 23rd at the 7 locations listed on your screen. Early voting times are 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. each day. On the day of the primary election, Tuesday, August 26th, voting takes place at your polling location from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. You must vote in the precinct in which you live and are registered. To verify your precinct, log on to escambiavotes.com. Be sure to take a photo and signature ID with you.
And that's a wrap for this night's edition of Rally 2014, but we do have one more night of primary election coverage ahead.
We absolutely do, Sandra. And on Thursday night, we will return with 2 races in Escambia County. The race for Escambia County Commission District 2 and Escambia County School Board District 3. We certainly hope you will join us then.
Our thanks to the League of Women Voters, Okaloosa County and Pensacola Bay Area for their participation in Rally 2014.
And Sandra, also our thanks to Pensacola State College. And a reminder that Rally will be available shortly for viewing online at WSRE.org. We thank you so very much for being with us tonight, and we hope that you will join us again Thursday night for more of Rally 2014 right here on WSRE TV, PBS for the Gulf Coast.